Yo, what's going on guys, Space Kong here. In this video we'll be talking about the new Undaunted monster mask sets. And yeah, I know it's late, but you know, better late than never. So anyway, here we go. So, first up we have CHOKETHORN. For 1 piece, adds 124 magical recovery. For a 2 piece, when you use a heal ability, you have 15% chance to summon a Strangler Sapling to heal you or an ally for 18,880 health over 4 seconds. And this effect can occur once every 10 seconds. Now as for looks, I think it's one of the better looking sets. Especially if you took it to a dye station, you could like mess around with the colours and things and make it look even better. Now let's see how it looks in combat. Now as far as animation goes, I think it looks really nice. They got the whole green touch to it. And, well, for the effects, I think it would be really good in the Maelstrom Arena or Dragonstar, somewhere like that. GROTHDAR'S Visage. 1 piece gives you maximum magicka. For 2 piece, when you deal damage, you have a 10% chance to create lava pools that swirl around you, dealing 2,227 flame damage to all enemies within 8 meters of you every 1 second for 5 seconds. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. And this is by far the most ugliest thing I've ever seen. I mean, like, the effect itself is really good, but look at that. But for practicality, it's great for PVE, like taking out mobs really quick. So say if you were to be in the Maelstrom Arena or something like that, or if you're in a dungeon, you wanted to take out a load of mobs, lay down a load of AoE dots like from your skill lines, and then with that on top of it as well, it's going to do a lot of damage. And the fact that it follows you as well is really good. Say if you're a mage, you wanted to use your lightning form, that's the one. That follows you around as well. So, like together, that'd be pretty lethal. Ice Heart. 1 piece adds 664 spell critical. 2 piece. When you deal critical damage, you have a 20% chance to gain a damage shield that absorbs 8,300 damage for 6 seconds. While the damage shield holds, you deal 857 cold damage to all enemies within 5 meters every 1 second. This effect can occur once every 6 seconds. Now I love the shoulders of this one, and the fact that you get 2 instead of just 1 shoulder, it looks really good. I like this one. Now, you can make this work if you're a tank and you make yourself have a high critical level, because say if you're a sorcerer, you could have the lightning form, and if you're a Templar, you can have blazing shield, and it still works for tanking, so you'll be shielding yourself and dealing damage to the enemy. So, and if all you have to do is get the critical, and a 20% chance of this shield proccing, so it's really good. So I can see how this can be quite useful, but if you're doing a DPS or a solo build, I don't know, there are probably better masks out there. ILAMBRIS'S. 1 piece gives you maximum magicka. For 2 piece, when you deal flame or shock damage, you have a 10% chance to summon a meteor shower of that damage type that deals 1,447 damage to all enemies within a 4 meter radius every 1 second for 5 seconds. Each effect can occur once every 8 seconds. I love that they're bringing in different variations of the AoE monster mask sets. So that way everyone can have different variations of builds, as opposed to everyone always having the same build. But the only thing about this mask is, when you leave an AoE dot on the floor, it's not very big, as you'll see right now. See, that's it. It's really small. Like, they could have done with making that at least twice as big. Infernal Guardian. 1 piece adds maximum magicka. 2 piece. When you use a damage shield ability, you have a 50% chance to lob 3 mortars over 2 seconds at the furthest enemy from you that each deal 6,125 flame damage to all enemies within 5 meters of their blast area. This effect can occur once every 6 seconds. Now as far as looks go, I think it's probably one of the better looking masks of the new sets coming out. But the effect's a little bit underwhelming. I don't see why people would use this over 'Veladreth's, but I mean this does have a higher proc chance, but SHADOWREN'S is a lot more powerful, I think, so... Saying that, it does work wonders if you're trying to survive and do damage at the same time, so I guess you have to sacrifice one for the other, but it could work. KRA'GH'S or KRA'GH'S or... yeah, that one. One piece gives you 1,867 physical penetration. For two piece, when you deal damage, you have a 10% chance to spawn dreg limbs that create a shockwave in front of you, dealing 1,254 physical damage every 0.4 seconds for 1.2 seconds. This effect can occur once every 3 seconds. So, it's good that we're getting one piece sets that give you physical penetration and spell critical, as opposed to just the usual adds max health, magicka and stamina. So, I like that they're expanding upon it, would be the word. I love that the limbs come out the back and everything. That looks awesome. But I'm not really a fan of cone attacks, but as far as they go, this is probably my favourite one. Pirate Skeleton adds 1,867 physical resistance and spell resistance. For the two piece, when you take damage, you have a 6% chance to transform into a skeleton and gain major protection and minor defile for 12 seconds, reducing your damage taken by 30% but reducing your healing received by 15%. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. Now, this is by far one of my favourite monster sets that are coming out, and I'm sure you guys would favour this one too. It doesn't just look cool, but it's incredible for tanking. One of the best monster sets out, I have to say. And I'll definitely be farming this one. Bye bye Bloodspawn, hello Skeleton. The only problem with this is the visual delay. You can hear it work before it actually changes, so if you're in the middle of a battle you might miss it. But it doesn't really matter, I'm sure they'll fix that later on anyway. I mean, this is the player test server after all. SELENE'S Visage. For one piece, adds maximum stamina. For two piece, when you deal direct melee damage, you have a 15% chance to call on a primal spirit that mauls the closest enemy in front of you for 11,581 physical damage. This effect can occur once every 4 seconds. That's pretty good. And of course, as expected, Selene's mask looks pretty badass. Oh, there we go. I mean, the animation looks amazing. I love it. But for some reason it's taken a little while to activate. So. I mean, if you had a move like rapid strikes, you'll be activating it a lot faster, but I don't have that on my character right now. So. SLIMECRA'S. For one piece, adds maximum stamina, because there's not enough of them already to go around. For two piece, when you deal damage, you have a 10% chance to create an earthquake under the enemy that erupts after 2 seconds, dealing 3,737 physical damage to all enemies within 4 meters and stunning them for 3 seconds. This effect can occur once every 5 seconds. Now, as for looks, I like it, because I like the whole serpent thing. Like, especially if you can dye it green or something, that'd make it better, I think. But just my personal preference. Now, I don't see how this is going to be useful because the AoE that it puts out, it's not very big and it erupts after 2 seconds, which gives them enough chance to move out the way, especially if you're in PvP, so I don't really see this being useful. But I'm sure there are some builds that players will have to make it work, so, you know, be creative with it. Next up we have Sentinel of KRA'GH'S, I think. For one piece, adds 2% healing done. For two piece, when you heal a friendly target, you have a 10% chance to summon a Dwemer Spider that heals for 1,012 health and restores 506 stamina to you and your allies within 5 meters every 1 second for 8 seconds. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. I've always been a fan of the Dwemer look, so naturally I love this one. practicality, I think it's great, especially for tanks. So say if you get the spider to heal yourself, it gives you stamina as well, so you won't need to rely on people sending you shards. Although it's always good, it's just a little extra. It's a nice little touch. As opposed to the Guardian headset, which can give you one of each, magicka, health or stamina. At least with this one, you know you're getting health and stamina. So it depends on your playstyle, really. SHADOWREND'S. For 1 piece, adds magical recovery. For 2 piece, when you deal damage, you have a 5% chance to summon a shadowy clownfish for 15 seconds. The clownfish's basic attack deals 3,320 physical damage and applies minor maim to any enemy hit for 5 seconds, reducing their damage done by 15%. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. Now, not only does it look really good, it's also really helpful for solo content. I love the sound, the animation, all of it. The effects are incredible as well. Like reducing their damage that they deal, and also dealing over 3,000 damage to them. This one is a must-have. SLIMECRAW'S. For 1 piece, adds 124 health recovery. For 2 piece, gain minor berserk at all times, increasing your damage done by 8%. This will probably be the first one I go for. It's really good. I mean, for looks, it's okay. You know, it's not the best looking mask, but I mean the animation on the arms as well. That looks really cool. But now, some of you like this, some of you hate this, because some of you can get minor berserk and think it's a waste of a mask. But for other players, you get to free up a slot. But like I said in the previous masks, it all depends on your play style. STORMFIST'S. 1 piece, adds stamina recovery. For 2 piece, when you deal damage, you have a 10% chance to create a Thunder Fist to crush the enemy, dealing 1,671 shock damage every 1 second for 3 seconds to all enemies within 4 meters. And a final 7,721 physical damage when the fist closes. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds. I like the whole Storm Atronach thing they're doing with the mask, the mounts, and all together it's going to look great. In my opinion, I think they could have sped up the fist closing part of it, or make it bigger so it's harder for him to escape, or maybe even just trap him in it for a couple of seconds. You know, like keep him rooted. It's guaranteed for PvP, people can just walk out of the radius easily. And even for PvE they do it as well, as you're about to see in a second. But again, it's only a player test server, so they might change that later on. So you can just walk straight out of the way. Swarmother. For 1 piece, adds stamina recovery. For 2 piece, when you block an attack from an enemy that's further than 5 meters from you, you spin strands of silk to pull your enemy towards you. This effect can occur once every 2 seconds. Now, this one is great. Not only does it look beastly, it is very beastly, especially if you're a tank or if you're just in PvP. So now you don't need to be a Dragon Knight to have those fiery chains to pull them in. You can just use these silks, and every 2 seconds. That's quite a lot. Like, combine that with Inner Fire, you'll be a great tank. I mean, even for DPS in a dungeon or trial, even in PvP, you can just lay down a load of mines or bear traps or AoE dots, anything like that, and then just put them towards you. TREMORSCALES. 1 piece, adds maximum stamina. For 2 piece, when you taunt an enemy, you have a 50% chance to cause a Dune Ripper to burst from the ground beneath them, dealing 6,273 physical damage to all enemies within 4 meters, and reducing their movement speed by 70% for 8 seconds. This effect can occur once every 4 seconds. I can't see this being anything other than a PvP set. Well, in a dungeon, I just don't see it happening, but if you're doing PvP, it's going to be great. Because if you're trying to do one of those 1vx builds, you can mix this with one of the new armor sets coming out, I can't remember what it's called, but one of them, when you use a taunt attack from your one-handed shield skill, basically ransack, you gain health. But then if you put that with this as well, you gain health and deal damage to them and be really tanky at the same time. Knight Errant's Mail, that's what it's called. But anyway, you can have a lot of fun with this build. The Troll King, for 1 piece, adds 2% healing done for 2 piece. When you heal a friendly target, if they are still below 60% health, their health recovery is increased by 1,494 for 10 seconds. Which I presume works with healing over time spells, otherwise it would be pretty useless. I was expecting something a lot different with the name Troll King, maybe some AoE knockback effects, as opposed to healing. Or even that Earthquake skill, which is on one of the other masks. However, it still looks terrifying. I'm still probably going to get it anyway. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, what masks you'll be using and what build you'll be using it with. And don't be afraid to get really creative. And if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, please leave a like and subscribe. And again, as always, have a great day. Peace!